I hate to start this on a negative note, but I need to rant to you for a second because something really annoying and horrible and disgusting happened to me today, and I'm being very over dramatic. Like, when you hear what happened, you're going to be like, okay, so what? But in the moment, it like annoyed me so much and made me so like annoyed and disgusted. First, I need to set the scene for you. So today I was out and about getting groceries. I get groceries from like different stores, like two different stores. I get like the bulk of it from like a cheaper store, and then I like walk across to like another bigger supermarket and then get like little things that I can't like that don't compare to like the cheaper shops. I guess I'm a bit of a brand snob in that way. But yeah, so I had just been to my first shop and there's like a little like water place between them where you can just like, I don't know, chill by the water. So that's what I was doing. It was really nice, really sunny, like no one was around. The water was really nice, it was really blue. I was just sat on a bench watching the water, feeling so at peace, so calm and content in that moment, and so thankful to like be by the water. I love being by any body of water. Maybe it's because I'm a water sign, I don't know. But I was sat by the water, really just like having a really nice, peaceful time. And I've been dealing with like a lot of anxiety recently, as I always am, I guess. I guess my whole life has just been like one big ball of anxiety. Anyway, so I was like finally reaching this state of like peace and like, oh, maybe like things aren't that bad in my life. Like maybe like life isn't just anxiety, life can be peace too. And I see this woman walking with her dog, and she's like coming up to where I'm walking to, and I'm like, okay, she's kind of far away, and I'm like, okay, like that's it, we need to move on with our day, like it's very hot and I can't take the heat, and maybe this is just a sign that like I've had my moment of peace, like to help me on, and now I'm gonna go throughout the day with like this feeling of peace and contentment and everything like that. So I get up because I'm like, my more people are coming around, like my peace is going to be shattered, I'm just going to get up and move. So I get up, and when I get up, I take like a few steps, and my foot, like my shoe just like crunches on something, and I just assume that like I've trodden on like a dry plant or something. So I keep walking and it's still there and it feels really weird. I'm like, what the hell is that? Let me tell you, we have absolute menaces to society in my hometown, clearly, because I had to peel like a little plank of like really thin wood off of my shoe. And why did I have to peel it off? Because there was a ball of like chewing gum stuck to it. And I know it was chewing gum because my shoe was like sticky, and when I tried to like find like a twig to get it off, it smelled like mint. So I don't know if like someone recently with their friends had like chewed a bunch of gum, stuck it to a plank of wood and just left it there for someone to tread on, and I was the idiot who treaded on it. So yeah, I was angrily, annoyingly, disgustedly had to like speed walk to where there were trees to try and find a twig, as there were like leaves and grass and like pavement sticking to my shoe. And that was like my peace shattered. That was my peace gone. I felt so disgusted by having to claw off like chewed up chewing gum that was stuck to my shoe. I don't know. I know it's very first world, and I know it's not a big deal, but that was like my peace was like shattered in that moment. Like I had reached perfect, like, oh my gosh, life is amazing, like, oh my gosh, anxiety, I don't even know that one, like, and then it just like it came crashing down within like a matter of seconds, and I don't know, I felt very, very angry for like a good minute, and also just annoyed. I was like, is the universe testing me? Is the universe like, oh, actually you're not, like genuinely for a hot minute I was just like, why, like, why does this happen to me? Why does that have to happen to me? What the hell? Like, I was in a peaceful state, why did that have to happen to me? And then I like eventually had to just like calm myself down and like say it's okay. But yeah, that's where my mental state was today. Also because I think it just made it worse because I was so hot as well. Like, even though I had reached that peaceful inner calm, I was still very much like the heat is very overstimulating, I guess. I don't know how else to put it. My face was like throbbing. I haven't caught the sun because I slather my face in SPF 50 because I'm just like paranoid, I guess, about sun damage. Like, I have a lot of issues with my skin. It's oily combination with breakouts and redness because apparently I'm not one of God's favourites. But like, I don't need some sun damage to add to the list. So yes, I did not catch the sun, but my face was so hot it was like throbbing and felt really sore. And yeah, I was just ready to get out of the sun, even though I still had like one more shop to go to. Again, very first world, great problem to have. Also, I was hungry and I turned into a 5-year-old like sleep deprived child when I'm hungry. It's not good. So I think that played a part to it too. But I was also so hot that like I was so sweaty. Sorry, this is so TMI. I was so sweaty that like it was so like disgusting and like overstimulating to me that like it must have bypassed my hangriness, because when I got home I like was so hungry, but the first thing I did was just take a shower and like scrub myself. And I just need to put this in perspective for you. When I was in the second shop, I literally had to like put down my basket in the middle of an aisle, take a few deep breaths and like dig in my bag for my water and like chug water, because I was feeling so lightheaded because I was so hungry. So yeah, I did have like snacks on me, by the way. Like as soon as I got out of the shop I like had a snack, so I was good. But like that's just like putting it into perspective, like how hungry I must have been and like how repulsed I must have been by my sweatiness to like bypass the hunger and just beeline for the shower. Anyways, speaking of getting triggered, the main reason why we're all here today, I guess, my people, wow, I feel like Gru and you're all like my little cute minions. Anyway, we are all here today because I need to discuss something with you that I've recently experienced, I guess, because that's all these videos are. So, yesterday I was reviewing... for context, I have a planner that is like my life. I love it so much. I don't know why it took me so long to get a planner, because it has changed my life and I love it so much. And I know it's such a simple thing, but I think I just want to get... I'm one of those people that wants to get so much done and is excited by getting like lots of things done in terms of like creative projects and working on like different things. But sometimes I like get overwhelmed, or like I forget things that I want to do, or like so writing down having a planner and writing down like my plans for the day or what I want to get achieved for the week has been really, really helpful. And I don't know why it's like blown my mind so much that it has been so helpful, but here we go. I have a really gorgeous planner. It's from Papier or Papier. I don't know how to pronounce that word. I am dyslexic, so I don't know how to pronounce any word correctly. But yeah, it's from Papier and they did a collab with Peachy Dan. So it's the Peachy Dan journal and the design is so gorgeous. It's like black and red and blue, which are like my colours, I guess. Such a gorgeous, simple, yet cool design, and I really love it. It makes me really excited to use it. It has like all of like, the days of the week and of the year and stuff like that, so you can write down your plans, but it also has these sections where like you can plan out all of each month. So it like has a section where each month it's like main goals for the month, to do for the month, new habits, and like what things that you want to start doing and stuff like that, and then like notes for the month. Which is really cool because I've started like writing down what book I've read each month or what books I'm reading. I've started noting down like what films I've watched and stuff like that, because I realised that like every year I get to the end of the year and I don't really have a really good memory when it comes to like the films I've watched or the books I've read, which I guess doesn't really matter. But I feel like it would just be cool to have a review of like everything I liked and everything I didn't like in that year and stuff like that. Sorry, that was a complete side note. But yeah, anyway, so yesterday I was looking through my planner because I realised it was like, the first week of July had kind of like ended and like the new one was beginning. And so I was like, okay, cool, let's review like my June goals and achievements, if I've achieved anything. And let's work on like, what do I want for July and stuff like that. And I was looking through everything that I wanted for June and, the new habits that I wanted to start and what I wanted to achieve and, my 3 main goals of June. And I was looking through them and I was like, wow, on the surface level, I haven't achieved that much. Like you could say I've basically failed at most of the goals that I was trying to achieve. And that did make me slightly angry and frustrated for like a second. which I think is okay because obviously we're allowed to feel what we feel, and I'm in like a point in my life right now where like everything frustrates me and nothing feels like it's going my way. So seeing that like on the surface level I maybe haven't achieved anything that I set out to do would obviously trigger me and make me feel a bit like shit and a bit annoyed. But looking at it more deeply, I actually was like, okay, I've actually done a lot. It just maybe hasn't amounted to anything on a physical level or on like a level that I can judge its worth kind of thing. Like I've done things that I've wanted to do, but I think my goals were more focused on like, you know, like money or like followers and stuff like that. And so even though like I've done things that I promised myself I would do, like post more and write twice a week for my blog, and you know, maybe I didn't upload that much on here in June as I would have liked to, but I'm still proud of like the videos that I'm making and what I'm talking about, and I'm just really, really proud of what I'm creating in the moment. I'm really, really proud of what I'm producing and who I'm becoming. And even though there's like still a lot that I need to change and a lot that like I need to go for and just help myself out with, I have actually achieved a lot and done a lot in June. It just doesn't seem that way on the surface level, because instead of like making a goal that was like upload more or like, you know, make these videos or like whatever, it was like get more readers, get more followers, get money, get a job and stuff like that. So on the surface level, in that perspective, it does seem like I failed. But then I thought about it and I was like, actually, I don't feel like a failure. I don't feel like I've wasted my time. I don't feel bad about myself, because even though I haven't achieved those goals, I've achieved the goals that like I've set out to do in my mind, I guess, which is like upload more, post more, write more, you know, be more, like work on self-confidence and stuff like that. And so going into July, I still had very similar goals of what I want to achieve. Like nothing much has changed on that front. But I kind of mixed in what I want to achieve more with like, you know, working on my mental health a bit more and like, you know, being a bit more present and locking down like a night routine and, you know, keeping up with the good work and the good consistency. And, you know, instead of like focusing on like a follower number or like a follower count or how many people have read my blog or how many people are interacting with my videos and my posts, instead I'm just making goals to like keep up the consistency, keep up the good work. Because it's really crazy. I had this realization the other day that like even though I'm more anxious now than I was at the start of the year because of like, I mean, a whole number of things, but mainly like because of money and stuff. I guess it's like always been a big thing in my life and stuff like that, like getting a job and things like that. I actually have a lot more self-worth and a lot more self-confidence than I did at the start of the year when my bank account was maybe a bit better. Which is crazy, but then also I also carry this shame and this guilt and this like embarrassment of like not having a great number in my bank account right now. Even though I'm doing a lot more and I've grown a lot more than I had done at the start of the year, and I'm producing a lot more stuff that I love, I'm being a bit more creative. I just feel like a whole new person, and so it's this weird feeling, this weird position of like I've doing more and I'm prouder of myself, and I still have this like, and I now have this new identity of like this new self-worth and this new self-confidence, and like I'm doing things more and I'm taking action more and I'm feeling really, really proud of what I'm creating and what I'm doing and what I'm writing and what I'm recording and editing and stuff like that. But then there's like another side to it where I'm like, well, I'm not really seeing anything sort of come from it. So it's like this weird mix between like my inner world and then like my physical world and like what's reflecting out to me. And I don't know, it's a weird feeling. I feel kind of delusional because I feel so good mentally and emotionally about certain things, but then with other things I feel very sort of weird and anxious, and I guess like quote negatively, like emotionally and mentally. So it's so weird. It's kind of flipped on its head. Like whereas before I was a bit more like, I don't know, I guess like, yeah, my position's been like totally flipped. Like even though I'm doing the things that I wanted to do more of at the start of the year and doing things that really bring me a lot of pride, I still then like have a lot of shame and a lot of doubt around my outer world because I'm not really seeing anything happen with those things. But I also just love that it's not stopping me and it's not making me doubt anymore, kind of thing. Like, the more I post, the more I write, the more I sort of like create, the more proud I am of myself and the less doubt I sort of experience. Of course, we're always going to experience doubt or like insecurity on some level, especially when you're like an artist and you're putting your creation out into the world where people can like have different opinions about it. But overall, I do just feel really, really good about where I'm at and what I'm creating, which is it's such a weird feeling because now I feel like I've now got the confidence and the self-worth that I was missing at the start of the year, but my physical is still not really changed. Like, my world and what I'm experiencing, besides from like creating more and feeling really good about myself, my world has not really changed other than that. And I don't know, it does make me kind of feel frustrated at times, but for different reasons. Like, because before I would have been frustrated with myself and I would have been like, well, you're not doing that much. Or like, of course, nothing's changed. But now I'm creating a lot and I'm doing these new amazing things that I really love, but still it's not really doing anything. So now I'm frustrated, but I have a lot more self-love and patience for myself, which is amazing. And yeah, it's weird. But yeah, so I just wanted to talk about that and talk about how like I reflected on the past month, and even though on the surface level it could be deemed as like an utter failure, I actually now mentally and emotionally not everything in my life is fixed and I'm still going to struggle, obviously. But mentally and emotionally, I'm probably in a much better place and headspace than as opposed to where I started at the start of June, which is amazing. And I only have myself to thank for that. And like, I'm really proud of myself. And I'm, it's building on that motivation to now do more this month and not do more in the way of like, I'm not going to push myself to extremes or burnout. I feel like I really do have a good balance of like resting and stuff. But yeah, now I'm a lot more like excited, and it is really just like building upon things that are already there, and like I've got steps underneath me now. Whereas before I just felt like it was like I was completely on the ground. Whereas now I'm like a few steps up, if that makes sense. And I have a lot more then motivation to like keep going and keep building, which is amazing. And I'm so thankful for that and for myself and for doing that. I'm also so thankful as well that like I could take a minute to feel that anger and that frustration, but then also take a step back and realize actually I did do a really good job this month. And even though it doesn't show physically and in like my finances or like any other physical change, but it's shown in me and in my being and in my energy, and actually that's something to celebrate and to be proud of and to notice and to applaud and to celebrate. And yeah, I'm really also proud of myself for recognizing that actually I can still want followers, and I can still want money, and I can still want a nice, good, enjoyable, creative job, and I can still want all of these things, but also like changing my goals to be a bit more like, oh, just keep it up, like don't worry about the followers, don't worry about who's reading it, don't worry about who's seeing it, just keep it up, keep going, like keep being happy, just recognizing that like it's okay to make goals about your mental health too and being kinder to yourself, and it's okay to have a balance between like wanting the follower count and the physical materialistic things, but then also just like applauding, rewarding, but also then wanting to like follow up with the consistency that you've built, and like being proud of creating whether or not it's seen by a mass audience or not, kind of thing, or any audience. So yeah, basically I'm really proud of myself, and July is going to be even better. I've started writing in like the notes bit of the month as a goal, just to like make this month the best yet. And not in like a pressure way of like never be sad, never be upset, like never F up or whatever, but in the way of like, okay, we've got this consistency, we've got this thing, we've started doing this, we've started creating this, we started this new habit, whatever. Okay, so let's keep doing this. Let's keep the consistency. Let's add another little new habit, or let's build on from this, or what can we do with this, or how can we improve this slightly. Again, not putting pressure on myself to do anything, like burning myself out, but just on the level of like, let's make this month good. Like let's build upon, let's keep the motivation coming, let's keep the consistency. Let's see what else we can achieve. Let's see what else is out there. Let's see what happens, basically. I want that to be one of like my mottos, and something that like I tell myself as like a comfort, not making anything bad, not making up anything good, just being like, you know what, let's just see what happens. Let's just see what happens. We can deal with it in the moment. Let's just go for it, see what happens. Okay, I want to leave. I mean, that was a positive note, I guess, but I want to talk to you about what I'm reading and what I'm watching. I'm going to start by what I'm reading because I want to leave this off on a positive note. So I'm currently reading the fifth wheel of book. Oh my god. The Wheel of Book, yes. No. I'm currently reading the fifth book in the Wheel of Time series. There we go. The Fires of Heaven. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it. You know when you like really, really love a book, and you really, really love a series, and you really, really love the characters and the world building and just everything, and like the way the writer writes. Because of my dyslexia, it's really hard for me to get into a book. It takes me about 50 to 80 pages to like forget that I'm reading. Like I really have to focus on the fact that I am reading, and it takes me a long, long time to actually like forget that I'm reading and just enjoy the process. Anyway, but the way Robert Jordan writes just flows, and I can just pick it up instantly. And I have that with a couple of authors, but it's very rare. And he's just one of those writers that like I can instantly just like read and have no problem, and it just flows, and I can just enjoy, and I don't have to focus on the fact that I'm reading. I just read, and it's great. But it's the fifth book, right? We're getting right into the middle of like shit. Like everything's happening. Everyone is split off into their different things. Like everyone's having a pretty rough, stressful time, right? And I feel for them, I really do. But all I really want is just to hear from my favourite character, okay? All I really want is just to know that he's safe, that he's doing okay, that he's not in harm's way, that he's okay? So I'm reading, right? I get to about 200 pages in, beginning chapter 12. My boy has not been in this book so far, right? 200 pages in, not a peep. So I'm reading. I'm like flipping ahead to like the start of chapters to see if I can catch his name, right? Because I just need to know where he is. I'm getting a bit nervous at this point. I'm getting a bit shaky. I'm getting a bit anxious. I'm like, what has happened to my fave? What has happened to my bestie? What has happened to my everything, my all? And I get so like worried that I Google it, right? I stop my reading to Google, and I'm like, where the hell is Perrin? My beloved Perrin, where are you? Okay, that's my favourite character. Perrin and Lan are my favourite characters. So I Google it. I'm like, hey Google, I don't know if you happen to know where the hell Perrin is. And Google's like, oh, he's not in book 5. And I'm like, what? And Google's like, yeah, no, he's on his honeymoon. It was literally like that scene from Shrek 2 where Prince Charming has to endure like blistering heats in the desert and winds and all of that shit. And he climbs to the tallest tower and the tallest castle, whatever. And the wolf's in the bed, and the wolf's just like, oh yeah, she's on a honeymoon. The heartbreak and the heartache and the anguish that I felt when I realised that I'm not going to hear anything from Perrin in this whole entire book. Don't get me wrong, I love the other characters too, but Perrin just like is such like a good, safe, comfort character for me. I can't explain it any more than that. So yeah, he's on his honeymoon, which is fair enough, give him his privacy, but also like everyone is like in such stressful situations. I'm worried about all of them. I'm really like trying to like catch my breath and like not have a panic attack for like each of their safeties. Couldn't I've just like every once in a while just had like a 2 to 3 page chapter where it's just Perrin with his new wife just like chilling and having fun, being happy. I feel like that would have really broken up all of the other like stresses for me, and I would have really enjoyed that. But no, I'm not getting that, it would seem. Anyway, that's my rant, probably very out of context if you don't read The Wheel of Time. Anyway, in line with the promise that I made to myself a couple months back, I watched another film, a new film that I've never watched before, The Thing from Another Planet. Now, I have watched John Carpenter's The Thing. I did not know that it was obviously quite inspired by The Thing from Another Planet. It is quite an old film. It's in black and white, which you probably obviously don't know this about me, but there is something about an old horror film that just feels like home to me. It's comforting, it's safe, it's pure art. It's mastery of the craft. I love it so much. Old Hammer horror films, that's where it's at for me. Like anything with Peter Cushing in it, I'm sat. This did not have Peter Cushing in it, but I still really loved it and I still really enjoyed it. It was one of those old films that like nothing really happened and it ran the risk of getting a bit boring at the beginning, but then it picked up and it felt quite short. Like it didn't feel like it was dragged out. And like not much happens, but it's still kind of scary because you don't know what's going to happen to the characters. I also love the aspect of like old practical effects that are like, they're so bad, but it's like camp. So you're like, oh, it's camp, so it's fine. I also love elements in films where like they mention something or they say something. For example, like two of the characters get killed in this film and they describe like how they're found and how they were, disposed of, I guess, by this alien entity, but you never actually see their bodies. So I love it when things like that happen. Obviously it might be for like, practical effects and like the sake of the budget and stuff like that. And obviously being an older film, they maybe don't want too much gore and blood and stuff on the screen. But I really love when films like mention stuff and they say stuff, but they don't actually let you see any visuals of it, because then it lets your imagination do the work for you. And anything that your imagination can conjure up is like 10 times worse than what they could actually create. And I just love when that is used. I think it's so cool. I really appreciated that little thing. I also just loved all the little like different character archetypes kind of thing. I loved like the news guy, like the journalist. There was this guy, basically for context, this film set on like an Antarctic base and they find this alien entity that is in like permafrost. Someone accidentally leaves an electric blanket on it and it defrosts and it comes back to life, this like alien being thing. And amongst the researchers and stuff, explorers and things like that, is this journalist who is just like, so like, I don't know, if I was in that situation, I would be having a panic attack. I would be breathing into a paper bag. I would be passing out every few seconds. I don't think I would have made it out. He is just like, I don't know, there's something different about journalists. Like, they're built different. They smell a story and all like their survival instincts and or anxiety and or fear just like fly out of their being, and they're like, I'm gonna get that picture, I'm gonna get that story, no one's gonna beat me. It's something that I both judge harshly and also very much admire. I loved his character and also kind of hated him a bit. He just wanted that story. He wanted that photograph so badly. Also, there was another character, this scientist, who was like, we must keep this being alive. We must save this alien. I don't care if it kills all of us. I don't care if it kills me. I'm keeping it alive because it's important and we need to study it. I love crazy characters like that, and I love to hate them, because what do you mean you would let it kill everyone in this base just for the sake of science? Like, no. You know what, actually, if I was in this situation and there was a guy like that, or like a guy, girl, whatever, if there was a scientist like that and I was trapped on this base and there was an alien after us and there was some scientist being like, we must protect this being, we must protect this creature, even if it kills all of us. No. We are knocking that scientist out, we are tying them up, we are hiding them in a cupboard. I'm sorry, I don't condone violence and I would never want to harm an alien creature. But if said alien creature is coming for me, I'm not gonna just put my hands up and say, well, for science, fair enough. The survival instincts are gonna kick in me, you know what I mean? I also love that at the end of the film, not to spoil it, but the journalist, he's fine. Our boy makes it. Don't know if he got the photo that he wanted, but he makes it. And at the end, he like comes around this radio and he's like telling all the other news anchors and the people like at this other base, he's like telling them what happened and write this down, this is going to be a story. And then he basically gets like really somber and really like, like, they're coming for us, look up at the stars, like they're there, this is real, aliens are real. And the last line of the film is like, look up at the sky, look at the stars, look at the stars. Firstly, what like a cool way to end a movie. Like, wow. Secondly, oh my god, that experience, I guess, of like nearly being killed and essentially being held hostage in like this really small base by like an actual alien has clearly affected him, has clearly changed him. And it's such like a cool way to end a movie that won't necessarily be taken that seriously just because of like the practical effects and stuff. But I think for something that was both like comical but also scary to watch at the same time, like there was tension there, but it was also slightly comical. It was nice to have that ending of like, everyone's sort of like been a bit, they were all brave, right? They weren't like fearing for their lives. They were just, oh, like, we have to stop this thing now. And then at the end, I guess it's kind of like that calm down from the adrenaline. So it was like a really cool way to end the movie of like, oh wow, these people have been like really affected actually. And we've all seen them like in, action stations and, taking down this thing and protecting each other and, really just like in their sort of element, I guess. But now it's like, the whole thing's happened, that they now have time to like cool down from it and really like emotionally and mentally process what happened to them and what could have happened to them. And they've all like been trying to protect themselves this whole time and kind of making jokey comments the whole time and stuff like that. And now it's like this moment of like, oh, like it's gone, it's happened, it's done, but like, oh my gosh, what have we been through? And they've all kind of been affected by this and they'll never be the same by it. So I think it was a really cool monologue and a really cool piece of dialogue to end such a film on that I really appreciated. Sorry, that was like way too deep, but I just love making things deep that aren't necessarily that deep. Also, the design of the monster or the alien, sorry, was like very much, I don't know, it kind of reminded me of like Frankenstein with spikes, which I wasn't mad about. I wish they would have let the reveal happen a bit later on. Like there's a scene, I believe it's like the first full reveal of the alien, where this kind of comes through by like the greenhouse sort of room on the base. And it kind of like tries to get through the door and then they trap its arm and close the door just in time. But you still see like the alien's face and the body and everything, and I feel like it would have been way more effective if one of the guys saw it, but then the camera like pans just in time for us to like not see its full body, just in time for the guy to like trap its arm and like close the door kind of thing. I think it would have been way more effective to like just see its arm like kind of like fall off as the guy manages to close the door rather than like see its whole face and body too. But yeah, that was like my only note. I was like, oh, the reveal maybe like happened a bit too soon. Like maybe just seeing its arm would have, especially back then when like people weren't as exposed to like horror stuff and practical effects weren't really like that great. I feel like it would have really worked for like letting people's imaginations take over kind of thing. But yeah, overall I really, really loved watching it. I really enjoyed it. I love old horror movies, like I said, they're my home, they're very comforting to me. I really like how camp they are. And there was only 2 women in this film, which I guess makes sense for the time. But one of the women that was like one of like the main guys, like love interest, I guess, her outfits were gorgeous. Like this was in black and white. Everything was so high-waisted back then, and I just adore that. I love high-waisted things so much. Low-waisted, I'm sorry, as a trend, like I hate, and it looks good on other people, but on me, no. Like I can't do low-waisted. I live only for high-waisted, and seeing her every time in like her high-waisted outfits just made my little fashion brain so happy. And also comforted me. Like her fashion and her hair look so good, and I was like, you know what, we're gonna make it through because your hair is killing it. So yeah, that's what I'm watching, that's what I'm reading, this is how I'm feeling going forward into the month of July. I still feel really good vibes about being 24, and yeah, I'm just gonna keep on creating, gonna keep on moving, gonna keep on taking action, and let's just see what happens. And I will love you, and I will leave you, and I will yap to you very soon.